opportunity, hopefully not our final one, to chat to you, but in the same time we're always too busy to meet. But Zane Palmer intrigued me with this, what shall I say, this dedicated choice to provide an income, joining his skills, his talents, by working for many years on the rigs. A very exacting kind of life. And I understood it's a new stage in your life and you are anchored now at home with your workshop whilst your work is traveling everywhere. But let's take it from talking a bit about your workshop, because people will now have viewed one replica of a Canon. Then they maybe have an idea, especially more engineering and technical minded people, of if you make this with your own hands, that this is quite an intricate performance to have this Canon on the table as a showcase. I have once been privileged to have a guided tour in your workshop, and I keep thinking the word workshop does not actually suit the work environment that you have created. I think from my background I would call this with the French word atelier. There is something artistic about your work environment. I've also been dazzled by the multitude of tools in all sizes. And I've been wondering if you could explain a bit more about all the equipment you need. Where do you purchase it? Where does it come from? How did you organize this atelier as your working space?
Yeah, it's been quite a few years in developing a workshop, that's for sure. Started off with a single room on the back of a commune, and yeah, now it's a lot bigger. The equipment that I'm using is I start off with CAD and design everything on CAD, and then 3D print. Thank goodness for 3D printing, that's come a long way. So 3D print the parts, then to make silicon rubber molds, then to do lost wax casting. So there's a lot of equipment on that side. And then one of the jobs that I did many years back was at Isaac Brothers, a furniture manufacturer, and I did the CNC programming there to cut wood. So that stood me in good stead for what I do now, only on a much smaller scale. So I've got 2 CNC machines for cutting wood. So a lot of the woodwork used to be done on routers and that by hand. Now it's all done on the CNC. So it can become economically viable.
That's only the woodwork, but all these precision tools that I saw to measure or to move something infinitely small, do you buy that somewhere, or do you go back to your forge and do you make it?
No, a lot of the equipment or the stuff that I'm doing is pretty much the same as what a jeweler would do. So
of course, yeah.
Eyepieces, same as a jeweler, all the small cutters and pliers and screwdrivers, all supplied by the jewelry trade.
I saw some of your other replicas in your atelier, which were made with precious metal. That's correct, huh?
Yes.
So it's the association of using the jewelry instruments that makes sense. I believe you love working in precious metal.
Yeah, silver's really great, and even this model that I brought today, that has got gold on it. So what I've done there is all the stuff on the original Canon that would have been brass or bronze, that I've reproduced and then gold plated it, so that as the copper and bronze gets patina over the years, the gold should still stay looking like gold.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it does.
I'm sure your property is well protected in an environment where even copper pipes are stolen from the houses. I'm sure it must be well protected. What also intrigues me is, and here I would like to explain a bit more on, you make this is now your new career, this is your income generating career, so you work for clients. Do you find a client first with a particular, shall I say, family history interest, or a museum who wants a replica of a particular Canon, or do you have an interest and then find a client? How does this now actually work?
Generally what I do is I make what I like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, for example, this cannon that I've got here, that's a British 7-pounder that I've liked since I was a little guy. There's one at the Johannesburg War Museum, and I went up and saw that,
Yeah.
and I fell in love with it, and now I've made it. But I've done it in bronze, and I've cast it now in silver. So I'm going to be doing it in silver. It'll be silver and black wood, which will, the contrast of the metal and the black is really nice. And then I still want to do one in gold. So is there anybody with a couple of kilos of gold?
Yes, yes.
We can talk.
And then it's going to be so perfect and so beautiful, and you're going to be like painters with a masterpiece and they can't sell because they're so attached to it. Or is there a family necessity that says, hang on, we would like to find somebody in the world who is interested in this, who wants it as a collector's item or what? Can you give us a few examples of where in the world your creations end up?
I've got a cannon in Tokyo. A long time I sold the other day to a person in London. This one is going to Conway in Massachusetts. Generally, mainly I sell to people in America. And mainly it's made to order. So I've made the cannons, put them on my website, and then people come and they say they want that cannon, and then I'll make it for them. But where I want to be is I want to have a list of cannons on my website, and these are guns that I want to make. And then I can ask people to vote which one they want me to make next, and then I can make that and then sell that from my website.
Yeah, find like a bit of dynamic between the creative part and the sales aspect of it.
So I'm not reproducing what I've done before.
Yeah.
I'm making a new gun, and then obviously they won't be cheap.
Yeah, I can imagine this is a very exclusive buyer's market. Huh?
Yes.
No matter how much I admire it, I would feel very unsafe in terms of break-ins in my house if I would have this on my table.
Yes.
Yeah. It is a very precious item. Do you have in South Africa some of your work?
South African market's very limited. There's one collector in Cape Town who's bought guns from me. I think he's bought 3 in total, and further no. It's all export.
It's all export.
Yeah. Exchange rates in our favour, so it makes sense to export.
Yeah. I can imagine now that you are full-time, I guess, working on what really is your passion, and you say, Riggs, I don't have to get on that plane, I don't have to, I can move around in my own life, in my own space, that it is quite liberating to have reached that stage.
Yes.
Was there a decisive factor that you said it's been enough with my previous career, I want to make this step? Was it anything that made you decide, or is this a too personal question? Yeah,
pretty much. The last job, things have changed over the years. As you can see from our work, it must be right. If it's not right, it's not right. And with asset integrity, it's the same thing. If you do an inspection and it's not done properly, and the reports are not done properly, and the work orders that are required are not done properly, then what's the point of doing it? And over the years, it's basically become a tick-the-box situation, where even the inspectors that you come across admit openly that when they do the exams online, and they will have somebody who is actually taking control of their computer, and that person's answering the exam, and they just sit there in front of the computer, show their face to the camera. So they've got no qualification, and the companies just turn a blind eye because they get the work ticked off and it's done. And they come in at the cheapest rate. So, it's just...
it's that kind of change that you couldn't accept working like that anymore.
So I'd rather do something that I really like and make a business out of it. There
is a lot of space for further development.
Yes.
And I am sure your list of the cannons you want to put on your website, it's already there. It's already there. It will happen.
And it can bring travel into the picture because, for example, you could go to Reunion Island and there are cannons there that people would love to have models of.
Yeah.
Or a place like Ochikoto, where there's a big sinkhole, and the Germans at the end of the First World War threw their cannons in there, and they've been taken out and put in the museum at Tsumeb.
Yeah.
And those are perfectly restored cannons. They're not even restored, they're just cleaned and put in the museum.
Yeah.
You can go there and
It's your destination travel.
exactly.
I hope
The
you-
wife loves travel and I
Yeah,
love the
yeah,
cannons.
yeah, right.
So we
yeah.
could make videos of doing
Yeah,
that.
no, that's good. I
Yeah.
think with having invested so much, I know you are also a very involved, excellent businesswoman in her own way and in her own specialties. You need to take that time out. You work hard enough for it. So,
Definitely.
from PE to a wide reach. I think, if I may sum this up, saying, of course, meeting a variety of people, but this is now quite a unique example that you show in your career of somebody following his dream,
Yeah, and
not knowing
but also
how it
thanks to
would be
you.
possible.
Because if you hadn't highlighted the fact that, when I sat here in those evenings
Yeah.
and you asked me what was my most memorable moment,
Yeah.
and it was when I went up and I bought 2 cannons,
Mm.
and we went and fetched them and we came back,
Yeah.
and the trip back, that was like the best moment.
Yeah.